I saw somebody post the other day, not on my YouTube channel, but elsewhere, where they were making a comment around how when you get to this age, the idea of losing your job is really kind of dicey. Not their exact words, but that was the sentiment. And then when you think about, all that's in the news lately around buyouts and, what to do in terms of transition, there's a lot of job change, concerns, ageism, all of those kind of things that, are swirling around at this particular point in time. And if that's on your mind and you're thinking, I either feel like I'm at risk in my position because I'm getting a little bit older and I'm concerned about what if I have to make a change, or you're thinking like, I need to make a change because I want to be in a better circumstance. I want to talk with you today in this video about transition and an approach to it because it can feel so huge. It can feel like it's such a blocker to being able to move forward, or feel like, you have a viable other plan, that you will be okay. And I want to assure you that that is the case. You will be okay. There is an organized way to go about that. And so just want to cover that, overall approach today to give a little bit of reassurance. Hi, I'm Jeanette, the Northbound Coach. I'm really glad that you're here with me today. So, what is this process that makes it feel less ambiguous, less muddy, less like I have no idea how I'm going to move forward? It can just feel so exhausting that, without those kind of answers, you're just stuck and literally paralyzed, unable to, make any sort of traction. And yet, if this is something where you either want to move into a better situation or are fearful that you might be forced to do that, knowing that there's this organized way to go about that will be really helpful for you. So in my, regular non-YouTube life, I have a business where if, I had to put a label on it, I'd say I do career coaching, and specifically I focus on people who are in mid-career, maybe a little bit later than mid-career, and, transitioning, wanting to make a change of some sort. And therefore, the whole process that I have developed to work with my clients is very much what is the topic of today's video, because it's the, process that I utilize with my clients to move forward. And it isn't what you would think, because I think that many people believe that, okay, it's time to do something else. It's time to pull out that, resume from 1999. No, it's probably more recent than 1999, but time to, pull out the old resume, dust it off, make some changes, update your LinkedIn profile, start to, reach out for your, coffee appointments with your network connections. Much as I kind of describe all of those activities as sort of the career toolkit, like I'm going to dive into those sorts of actions. And really the process that I take my clients through is a very different starting point. So we start really backing up from that and examining the current circumstances and where the client wants to go, what the overall outcome is. Because often I find that when we are stuck or fearful or in, thinking about this transition, our thinking is really foggy. And so we're not ready at that particular moment in time to let me just update that resume. That activity, jumping to resume updating, is for the person who's going to go find more of the same, or, is not questioning what is coming next. Is very confident about that. And that makes sense to jump right there. But for most people who are considering a transition, actually backing up and looking at some of those activities beforehand is important. Now, there are situations where that activity of starting to brush up on the resume and the profile and starting to talk to people that calls for action more immediately. There's a more of an urgency for it. So in those cases, the beginning of the process can also include making progress sort of in parallel with the other work that we're doing. But for most people, really taking the time to look at and really dive into the current circumstances and aspirations for the future is such well-spent time. It may feel like, oh, I should be, churning out those applications. What am I doing over here in this self-reflection stage? But in the end, it actually saves so much time. So where do we start? Well, I like to start with a model called the logical levels of change. It is a model that's not necessarily a career framework, but it's one that is about a person's relationship to a particular goal. So a goal, all goals involve change to them. So it's really diving into that from a number of different levels or different topical areas. And so we start at really what is the most surface of those levels, which is your relationship or the goals relationship to the environment. So we start by looking at questions such as, what is it about your goal? Let's say your goal is to, find another position. What is it about your goal to find another position? What is it about your environment that is causing you to have this particular goal to find another position is actually the way that that's stated. And then a more future-oriented question associated with that first level, which is what do you want more of in the environment? What do you want to find there? And so between those two questions, it's amazing what kind of, even though that's a very surface level question, it's amazing what kind of things can be discovered there. And then we work through the 7 different levels of the framework, moving down into behavior as the next one. What is it about your behavior? So what are you saying and doing that is causing you to have this goal? And, and then the future oriented question and so forth, until we're at the 7th level, really deep into things like your values, your mission, your purpose, and so forth. And so it's a very comprehensive way to go about, I'd say it's almost like mining, like you're really digging in there to get those nuggets out that when you're kind of making more of those sweeping observations about situations, it's hard to see those. But this really gets you into the details, and so you're not missing anything. And then I like to follow that with a SWOT analysis, which is a tool that's often used in teams, in organizations to develop strategy. So we're taking, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and identifying them, including the data that we're pulling through from the work that we've done in the logical levels to come up with that strategic plan or, the career plan for moving forward. So you can see that it is a step-by-step process that actually develops a very thorough plan for moving forward that's very customized to each individual. And so what felt at the beginning to be so muddy and unclear and really has the potential to get you stuck, actually through this, one step after another, coming up to, a strategic plan of that, it's actually very doable. And that's what I suggest is doable for you. It's what has been doable for me. It's what has been doable for me working with a number of my clients. If you'd like to spend just, 45 minutes together completely free on my dime, I'd be happy to, do a little bit of that strategy work with you. I'll drop a scheduling link in the description box so that you can sign up for that if that is of interest to you. All right, so that's it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I will be back in a couple more days with another video. Until then, do take care. Talk soon.